the Diakonia Podcast.
Hey, it's Eric. How are you doing? It's been 2 weeks, I think. Maybe going on 3. This is the Diakonia Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in if you are. And we appreciate it. We appreciate you checking us out, seeing what we're doing, finding out about the project. As you can see, Diakonia behind me. It's hard to make your hands go the way you want when you're doing it backwards. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. All right. Yep, that's our banners in the background. And we did another shoot, but we talked about that. We had we had some great actors in that one. We told you about that. We got some cool trailers out. We told you about that. I don't know if I've said anything since we got the newest trailer out. Really love the new trailer. We put the new footage in with the other footage from the other shoot days. You know, kind of, it's really still a teaser. I mean, it's definitely a teaser. It's not like the sales trailer we're going for, which is what we need one more day of shooting to be able to do. And obviously we need your help for that. So as always, like, give us your help for that. Would be awesome. But it really looks amazing. I think it looks great. Everyone's really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. It's really more of that highlight teaser where you just see the cool parts for the most part, and it looks amazing. I mean, I think the first trailer we did out of it looked great, which was really kind of just that scene. It really kind of technically wasn't a trailer as much as it was like, here's a scene out of Diakonia. Or actually, it's more, here's a scene out of the Diakonia trailer. But I wanted to put it all together and just see how it goes. Because, again, we don't have any backing. So this is kind of there's more freedom. I can, as, if you want to say as an artist or just as an editor or just creatively speaking, I can play more. It's not like I'm married to certain things. There's no board that's going to sit over me and say, you can't do this, don't do that. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. I mean, it's kind of good to have the money and to have people with experience that are there working with you that are saying, hey, this isn't even necessary. What are you doing? But at the same time, it's creatively freeing because, well, I can make whatever I want. Like, there's nobody telling me what to make and what not to make. I mean, I do send them out to people who are working with me on the project, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? I send it to my DP, James Hollenbaugh, who's really great. He was just down in D.C. because his film played at a very big film festival, which I should know. It's like the National Museum or something, I think. Oh, he's going to be mad, but he never listens to these, I don't think, so I'm safe. But yeah, his one short just played down there in DC, which is super awesome. Congrats, Jim, even though you're never going to listen to this probably. But congrats anyway. But I'll send them to him, say, what do you think? What bothers you? Jim has a great critical eye, like just for picking up stuff that I just miss. Or as an editor, you get it's a little overwhelming because it's sort of like you see the big picture. You're cutting all these scenes, you're looking for reactions, you're looking for edits so that it's actually, you're getting continuity between your edits. You're looking at so much. So to have that extra set of eyes, that's critical. And he's really, really into the visual of like lighting and shadows. And it's really great to have him, kind of have him give that feedback. And then I'll go tweak and make adjustments. And I have some other people I tap too. Sorry, I yawned. Just to help me story-wise, or sometimes I just send it to people that are just, people that like movies and say, what do you think? Because you're my audience too. Like, those are also people. And if 3-4 people that I know that just love movies come back and go, well, I know I have a problem. So, I mean, other than that though, I mean, I get feedback, but I don't have a producer sitting over me, don't do this, don't do that, don't show this, don't show that. So there's good and bad to both. And part of this podcast was always me hoping I could kind of bring people along for this journey and kind of, share how it's going as it's going, what's going on as it's going on. So people kind of get a better grasp. I mean, it's a big monster when you're trying to do anything like this, especially, don't get me wrong. If you're trying to do something real down and dirty, low budget, you and a camera and maybe another dude running around with you. If you're trying to do it even at that level, it's a lot of work. If you're trying to do it right with no money, it's a lot of work. Oh, that's going to be crazy when I do so I do the closed captions for this when I do it, and the closed caption reader thing is going to go crazy with that. Nice. Okay. But it's a lot of work. I mean, it is a ton of work. And, especially trying to make it look pro, trying to take basically no money and make it look like you could compete with something with money. I mean, even with something with a small budget, would be, look and have advantages we don't have. So, we're not successful raising money yet. I'm hoping to get people excited about it still. I was hoping Lebanon would get behind this. There's something neat going on in Lebanon, and if it could take off, it could get made here in Lebanon, and it could be a lot of jobs. It could be a lot, of action in Lebanon. Haven't been successful in getting people's attention. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's Lebanon, and, Lebanites tend to back things that come from out of Lebanon, is what I've been told, and the experience seems kind of true. But at the same time, I'm hopeful. I'm hoping people in Lebanon can get excited about this, can think of it as something that hopefully could happen here, and throw me $5, throw me $10. I'm not making, like, my production company is a smaller production company, so I'm not making billions of dollars, and I'm just looking for your money. Like, I literally, that's not where I'm at. I work like everybody else. My kids come first, and my job's flexible, so I work around my kids' schedule. And, I wedge in as much work as I can. So I'm not somebody that's like, has this massive company. We do a lot of cool stuff. Sometimes we do a lot of cool stuff. Sometimes there's a couple months and I don't do much cool stuff. So, my schedule's not one that is that I'm just wealthy and trying to just get people to give me money to do something I want to do. And at the same time, this is something I want to do, and I really want to do it. And I found ways to do it so far. And mainly it's been cutting corners, finding people that are willing to, give me a deal to work on it because they really want to work on it, which is amazing. But the people I'm bringing in, I'm bringing in some really great people like James Hollenbaugh, who just had his short film showing in DC at this really big festival. And, it's nice that they're doing it, but they deserve to get paid for their experience. So, it's always balancing that line of, I don't want to take advantage of people, but it's really hard at this level when you're not bringing in donations, raising any money to do it. And the last shoot, as people know, happened because I had an anonymous donor who wanted to stay anonymous, who gave us $1,000, and that was enough that I could combine it with some other money. I could throw some of my money in. I could bought some equipment for other things I'm doing, and I was kind of like, all right, we can use that. And I revamped the shoot so that we could shoot it with that budget and, I think make something that looks professional and looks pretty amazing considering we shot it for, I think that shoot cost $1,200 for the mall shoot. And partially that's thanks to Lebanon Valley Mall and them being really nice about letting us use their space there in exchange for tagging them in our Facebook posts and getting their name out there as much as possible. And that was a huge help. And my talent is amazing, and everyone worked for peanuts, which sucks. And as an actor who I did acting in New York for 10 years, it sucks and it's frustrating for me because I want to pay people what they're worth. But they were all willing to do it because it was fun and they're interested in it and they like the script. So that was really cool that they would do that. But yeah, we made it happen. And that's partially what film is. I mean, that's partially any kind of art is. It's making things happen. It's pushing forward. I always joke with people, I'm just pushing the rock uphill because that's what I'm doing. And then hopefully you hit that tipping point where the rock starts going the other direction, or you get the excitement of people and they're donating $5, $10, $15, $25, and it starts adding up to like, hey, I can do this. Because the other part is, I mean, if people look at this, we have one more day of shooting. I think I can do it with $2,000. I think I have to see if I need to revamp the shoot to make that happen. I have to check in with people to see what their rates will be for the last shoot. I think I can do it for $2,000. We got an anonymous donation for $1,000, which might not be anonymous because they're checking on how we could credit them and whatnot. And it was really cool. It's another situation where it was just a really nice act of kindness. They like what we're doing. They'd like to support us. And they were just like, here's $1,000, which is amazing. But if you look at what we raised so far, and add the $2,000 of anonymous donations, we're nowhere near the $15,000 we were at. And the truth is, can we get this, can I get this to the finish line without the full budget? I can. I mean, that budget actually, at $15,000, the budget for this, I believe, was around $45,000. But because I have a lot of the equipment, it's weird looking at yourself counting on your fingers. I have a lot of the equipment. I have a lot of resources. My time I'm not billing for. There's a lot of things I do that I'm not billing for. In a normal world, the sales trailer would have cost a minimum of like $45,000, and that would have been cheap. But we got it down to, I think it was 45. It was 40 or 45. But I got it down to 15 by just, knowing I could trying to use resources that were free, knowing people some people would volunteer, knowing some people would cut me deals, knowing that I had equipment, or I was going to buy equipment that I can then use for business. And then it's, I'll kind of just be like, well, I need this for other things too, sort of thing. So, at 15,000, that was already me like trying to cut all the corners I could cut. And the truth is, I'm still pushing forward. The rock's still going uphill. We're down to one last day of shooting, which is really great. But, if we could bring in even half of that 15,000, that would allow us to do so much more as far as marketing, as far as social media, advertising. We could actually have some advertising, because that's part of the problem when you're trying to push something like this and you have no advertising. I mean, you're completely at the mercy of people who are just willing to share it, willing to like it. And to be honest, people don't. I mean, and that's where I was trying to get Lebanon excited. And, I just don't, people don't realize it. They think, oh, yeah, it's on social media, they'll do fine. They don't realize, like, the likes and shares go a million long way. Like, they're, like, crazy long way when people like and share that stuff, because then it reaches their people. And especially when they put it out there and say, hey, this is going on, check it out, you should like and share this. When people do that, their friends go, oh, what's this? Susie likes it, Billy likes it. Well, they like cool stuff, and they'll take a look at it. So, all that stuff, you're at complete mercy of people, because you can't advertise it even to get it in front of people. So, if we could raise that extra money, it would still make a huge difference in the project getting legs and being able to take off. Because if we can get it to take off on social media, and we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Getter, we're on Rumble, not as much, but I do post to Rumble. I was doing locals for a while, and I stopped because I couldn't figure it out, and it really wasn't doing anything. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on pretty much everything but TikTok, because by golly, we're on everything but TikTok. And I don't know about TikTok. Everyone tells me you got to post like 10, 15 times a day to make any progress. So we're sticking with where we're at. But, we're on everything, just hoping something takes off. Or if anybody's on anything, they can jump in and like it and share it and follow us on their social media. We have behind-the-scenes photos that come out every other day on Diakonia's Facebook and Diakonia's Instagram. And then sometimes I'll share those over across to like my annubis page or my LinkedIn or things like that. So, I mean, we're doing it. We're pushing the rock uphill. We only need $1,000 more to then have the $2,000 for the next shoot day, which would just be amazing. So if anybody's out there that you'd like to get involved, check out our donor box. There's a lot of cool stuff you can get, and you don't have to donate much even to get your name. We'll put your name out there and a special thank you on social media. You can get signed scripts. You can get all sorts of fun stuff, and it's not really a lot of money, I don't think. I mean, $10, $15, $25, I think you can get, start getting something back for what you're doing. And, and if you're excited, or if you want to, really, show some support, I mean, there are bigger ticket things where you can be get a producer credit. You could be on set for a day for the next shoot. You could be on set. You get to see the whole thing, be involved in everything. So, I mean, there's just so many different ways you can get involved. And to some of us, it would be a ton of money. To a lot of us, it's not. And if it's not to you, and you'd like to know more about film, or you're a Christian and you'd love to see a faith-based series, I mean, Diakonia, I've told everyone over and over again, the interesting thing is it's a Christian-based film that's not a Christian film in the contemporary sense of it. The contemporary sense of Christian films is usually a film that is teaching you a lesson, which to me isn't a film. It's a lesson that's like a docu-series, or, it's something that's a lesson that's being told to you via movie, where movies don't generally teach you lessons. That's not their point. They have a great story. They're entertaining. They have, can transport you to another place. They can do all these different things. But usually if someone's trying to teach you a lesson with your movie, it's called a tutorial. And it's not my bag. Like, I think that's where we've lost the culture war. Like, we need to make really great entertainment, really good entertainment, but we need to do it in a way that has our values in the underlying sense of it. I mean, that's how the culture shifted over these years, is all these shows and everything that has, slowly they've been moving the dial on us. The needle's been ratcheting one way or another, because all of our cultural entertainment has been saying, oh, this is okay now. Oh, this is okay now. Oh, what do you mean this is okay now? And some of it is arguably for the better, and most of it's arguably for the worst. And they didn't, though, suddenly come out and just put a show out in the 1960s where, Friends did not come out in the 1960s. And there's a reason for that, because in the 1960s, people were freaked out. But by the time the 70s and 80s came through, you could do a show like Friends in the, when was that, late 80s, 90s? I think it was 90s, wasn't it? Anyway, you could do Friends where, it was basically a daytime soap opera where everyone's sleeping around and everyone's just like, and living together, and people are like, oh, whatever. Which, that wouldn't have flown in the 60s. And it really wouldn't have flown in the 70s even. And that's the thing, the culture slowly moves the needle on us when we're not paying attention. Where this is something that it's Christian based. So it's just, hopefully, if the writer's any good, and I think I am, you never know. It's just this really cool series where people have superpowers, but the superpowers are based in biblical truths, in biblical evangelical gifts. And, there's some creative license in it. I'm not going to say there's not, to make it a little bit more exciting and to bring them out a little bit more maybe. But we have a Samson character in it, a Samson gift. I think I called it, what did I call it? But like the Samson gift. And there's a gentleman that, Samson had great strength. Where did he get that from? Biblically, from God. It's not one of the evangelical gifts per se, but he had this gift. Well, we have a character that has that gift, and it's something people have heard of. Kids know of Samson. Almost everyone knows of Samson and Noah's Ark and, Moses parting the Red Sea. I mean, these are all miracles that almost anyone, if you're Christian or secular, are like, woo, I believe this. So this is something that could really have a wide net, and it's not preaching anything, which I think's good, because you're not going to turn people away with this hard message where they're going to play the first 15 minutes and go, oh, this thing's trying to learn me something. It's not entertaining me. That's a problem, where if we create good content, if we create quality content that people want to watch and has undergirdings in biblical things, well, like these powers, honestly, there's stuff I was watching, and I think I said this before, like Moon Knight came out, and it was kind of like, oh, well, next thing you know, I'm Googling certain Egyptian mythology just to be like, oh, is that true? Is that what that is? Why is that? Because you're curious. Well, and that's the point. If we put something good out like this that people can get into, and more importantly, kids, teens can watch and get into and get excited about, well, what happens? They're Googling. They're getting on the Googler. They're Googleizing, and they're looking things up, and they're checking it out, and they're going, whoa, wow, that's good. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's in the Bible. There's so many things like, we don't know. We forget, or you just glanced over, or you never really thought about. I was talking to a guy on a podcast that does movie podcasts and about this project, and he's an atheist, and he was excited about the project because he's like, wow. He's like, do you realize how much cool stuff you have to work with? And I was kind of like, yeah, I kind of think I do. But he was like, no, seriously. He's like, and he started rattling off some of the more obscure, like really interesting but bizarre things that happen in the Bible, or where God punished people, especially Old Testament stuff. He was just like, do you blah, 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 when this happened? And it was really cool to hear somebody that's an atheist that was just like stoked to hear about a project based in Christianity. And I think that's what we'd have. We just got to get the word out. We got to, we need to get it, obviously, the trailer made, and then I need to reach the right people that want to go on this journey with us to create it. But, we have all these, The Sandman just hit Netflix. And, it looked interesting. The the visuals, I started to play it. I was like, it looks gorgeous. But at the same time, like, I got 20 minutes into it, and I was just like, like, again, I know it's fantasy, and I understand that, but it's not wholesome. There was nothing in it. Like, right away, we were dealing with someone that's going to bring people back from hell who have died, and there's people chanting what sure seems to be satanic chants and satanic symbols everywhere. And, I get it, and I can watch a movie that's, not right up my alley in any sense of the word, but at the same time, like, I'm like, what am I getting out of this? Like, where is this taking me? And I just was burned out. I'm tired of it. And I think a lot of people are tired of it. And I think a lot of people would love a series that is underpinned in things that they're not offended by, they're not burned out on, they're not tired of hearing about, they don't feel like they're being learned something. They don't feel like it's a lesson, they don't feel like they're, being treated like, as Chris Evans said, dinosaurs, and that we should go the way of dinosaurs with our morals and our beliefs, and aren't watching things that basically are offended by us. I think it's neat to just watch something that's good entertainment, that's not looking down or sneering at my values. And I think that's what Diakonia would be. And that's what we're shooting for with Diakonia. We just want to make something really cool, really interesting, something that's not been made before, because realistically, nothing's been made like this. Nothing's taking this concept and brought it to people as entertainment. And I think it's a huge hole in the entertainment market. So this one was long, but I haven't done a podcast in 3 weeks, so maybe I stored it all up. I think I'm just excited, though. Like, another donation was just like, no way. I was like, yes, like, we have a chance, to make this last day. And I have an amazing actress lined up for it, as long as she can still do it, which I'm 90% sure she can. And I just think, to actually complete this, we started last October, I think, shooting, or November was our first shoot. But, I mean, I've been trying to get Diakonia going for well over a year now. And so to actually be this close to the finish line is just like, super excited. Or as my son, when he was little, would say, excited. But yeah, it is. It's super exciting. And I think the project gets me excited. The idea of it gets me excited. Getting to do something different but amazing, it gets me excited. So I'm just really stoked. And I hope you can join me in that, in that place of excitement, and want to join in and want to help us. I want to put my podcast out there. Want to tell your friends about Diakonia. Send them the Facebook, the Twitter, the LinkedIn, the Instagram. Not all of them. They'll probably get pissed at you. But, support it and help us get off the ground with this. And if you want to be involved, more involved, let me know. If you want to, if you're an investor and you'd like to be involved as a producer, but even on the lower level, go to our donor box. All right. Thanks so much and have a great day. The phone's going to ring again. And I'm totally not editing that. Uh-oh. Have a great day. Bye.
The Diakonia Podcast.